Welcome back, kids. Episode 29 of Crypto Update with my wonderful host, Leanne of Mathematics. How are you, people?
Pretty good.
Good.
Are you feeling greedy?
Feeling greedy. I'm feeling bullish.
Bullish. Well, let's just have a quick look at the Fear and Greed Index. It's at 84%, Leanne. It's extreme greed.
That matches the world and how much greed is going on as we speak.
Yeah.
All-time high. Here's a couple of interesting facts for the people at home. 85% of Bitcoin has not moved for 90 days. We've got a 3-month low of Bitcoin on exchanges.
Supply, yeah.
Capital inflows are right up there, and obviously we've got an all-time high. So things are looking rosy. I have mixed feelings on this futures ETF. Now, many of the people won't really understand what a futures ETF is, so shall we explain this to them? What do you reckon?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, before we do that, here's a little clip from Paul Tudor Jones. I like what this man is all about and what he's got to say here, so let's check that out.
You saw that Bitcoin ETF that started trading yesterday, the one based on Bitcoin futures. There were a lot of seasoned investors who said, you know, that could be an issue. They like Bitcoin, the underlying issue, quite a bit better than the ETF because they worry that in times of trouble, that the ETF would trade at a steep discount to what you'd see to actually the underlying issue. What would you say to that, just to investors who are thinking, okay, I want to get into Bitcoin, how do I do it?
I think a better way to get in would be to actually own physical Bitcoin, to take the time to learn how to own it and carry it. I think the ETF will be fine. I think the fact that it's SEC approved should give you great comfort.
But do you believe that this means that regulators are saying that crypto is here to stay?
I think crypto's here to stay. Look, this is the United States of America, right? The reason we're the most dominant economic power in the world is because we unleash our individual entrepreneurialism and creativity. And you're seeing China do the exact opposite, right? That place is on economically a slow boat to the South Pole. Right. And as long as the U.S. can continue to unchain our entrepreneurs, we're going to always be the dominant position.
So, look, great thoughts from Paul Tudor Jones there. What are your thoughts on the futures ETF?
Yeah, I've got some mixed feelings as well. Obviously, when you hold the asset like many of us Bitcoiners do, it's a completely different beast to actually owning the ETF. So, yeah, I've got mixed feelings about that. You know, on one aspect, it's fantastic. It's accessible for investors that don't want to deal with the custody stuff. But, you know, the hodlers are in Bitcoin for other reasons, and they want to hold the assets. So, yeah, and you know, you bring in the futures markets and you bring in a different type of ball game. So it could affect things. We won't know until that plays out, but when you bring in that kind of money and ETFs, it definitely could have some really negative things happen. But on the contrary, a lot of positive things can happen.
You know, it's a derivative product, as you say. It's not actual physical Bitcoin. To me, the whole point of crypto is self-sovereignty, people. You're the bank. Money you control. Obviously, what we want here is a Bitcoin ETF, not a futures ETF. Big difference. Bitcoin futures ETF is effectively just making it easier to get exposure to the futures market. We've obviously already got the CME. When that launched, that's when the market crashed back in 2017. So, look, I don't think we're going to see a repeat of that here. A lot of people have been asking me if that is the case. I actually think this is more of a precursor to an actual Bitcoin ETF. Now, the difference between a futures ETF and a Bitcoin ETF is that the Bitcoin ETF will actually be something similar to like Grayscale, where you're buying a share and they own the asset. So it just means that you don't have to custody it, figure it out, how to store it. Just means you've been lazy, basically. Also, interestingly, Grayscale applied for an ETF yesterday as well, off the back of the futures ETF being approved. 993 million went into that ETF yesterday. And to put it in perspective, people, Grayscale, who have applied for a Bitcoin ETF, not a futures ETF, they've currently got $41 billion worth of Bitcoin. Now, the biggest gold ETF in the world is only 55 billion. So, Bitcoin's taken over gold, people. It's happening. It's happening. Thoughts?
It's gone from all this news that I'm seeing now. It's so much. Like there's so much technical and fundamental and FOMO and all this stuff coming in so hard. I don't know. I almost feel like we're out of the phase of one day everyone's going to be on board. I kind of feel like we're on the whole everyone's on board phase now.
Oh, I don't know.
We had that few months during the year where, we had every type of negative news, China, regulations. We've gone through a big stretch of negativity. On that note, Bitcoin has hit an all-time high just yesterday. So, that's really exciting news. The greed index is pretty full on right at the moment, but, a pullback could be expected to retest some zones, but it's bullish as hell, which Plan B, I've been following him on Twitter, and he's got the stock to flow model chart. And, at times, these guys have put their opinions on the line for so long, and it's so nice to see these people be able to say, this is what I've been believing in for so long. So all of those things come to fruition. So here's a little Plan B clip I saw the other day for all you bulls out there and the hodlers that have had diamond hands. This little 2-minute clip might make you smile.
Their spirits were sunken and low. Their bags weighed more than a ton. There was neither sign nor show when the bull began his run. The shields were shilling wall to wall. The gig was up, they had their fun, and every short got a margin call when the bull began his run. The candle's green came fast and tall. Each wick was bold, quick to stun. His eyes burned red, and his horns did more when the bull began his run. Now fortune smiles upon the need. His bags of gold gleam in the sun. The outer stream of his balance sheet, and every bear is left with none. Since the bull began his run.
Interesting times.
It is.
What else have we been trading?
I actually said in one of the trading groups, Baloo's group today, I said public service announcement, don't overtrade. Now is not the time to be FOMOing in and out of trades because things are going to pop off that you've been watching, and it's really hard to watch because you think you should be in all of them. But, what we've been saying all along is be careful, pack your bags, be confident in them, ride the trend. If you overtrade, you often do much worse than, what you could have done just holding.
Speaking of smart investing, I saw a interesting Twitter feed. Basically, kind of mimics what we've been saying here. A lot of times, good investments, a lot of it's just about being a smart person in life, taking care of your life and doing the correct steps that don't really have everything to do with technical analysis or understanding markets, but just living smart. And this guy Yaya, did 10 points of good investing that we can share with you. You can check it out yourself. But for simple things, in order to make a better world, to have better governments, to have less poverty, to have less war, it's all about people need to stop trying to fix other people, blaming other people, and they need to take responsibility. So like I appreciated how like number 2 here was failing to understand the nature of self, and others lie at the root of almost all of these 20 reasons. So, understanding yourself, it's important, right? And then things, he mentions things like being wealthy doesn't mean you need to go out and buy you don't have to have checkpoints of items that you buy. Like that stupid old played out line, when Lambo. It's like, the answer is never Lambo.
Oh, the worst one though is have fun staying poor. That all these Bitcoiners throw around all the time.
Yeah,
that pisses me off.
That's not a nice one either.
It's real douchebags that have sort of risen to the top of Bitcoin media. I don't know what the community is thinking. Some of these people are just
Actually, Jesse, there's a really nice photo on Twitter this week of Anthony Pompliano's wife sitting on the floor of their apartment in New York with just her computer, and she said this is a reminder of when he thought we didn't need a couch, but he wanted to put more money into Bitcoin. And it made me just think of all the sacrifices a lot of us have made, and it's paying off now. Like, I haven't bought the BMW and I haven't bought the this and that in my life. I've made different choices, and they start to pay off eventually. And it doesn't mean I don't live a nice life. I get to do all the things I want to do, but it doesn't include a checklist of these Lambos and mansions and things like that. I mean, that would be nice to live in one of those, but my choices are different at the moment. I'm making some smart choices, so.
I think a Lambo would suit Leanne mathematics.
I mean, yeah, she would look great in a Lambo, but I'm such a non-car person. I think we would look great in a Fiat. Whatever you want to call it.
I've got a Lambo-style scooter. No, that's as far as I've gone. No, I mean, that's it. It's whatever your priorities are. There's no right or wrong, but what's smart when you're investing. If you have goals in mind, you have to be smart. And you said a few weeks ago, Jesse, to surround yourself with smart people. Now, smart people are living within their means. They've got goals, aspirations, they're working towards them. They're certainly not in mountains of debt. They're making really smart choices about how to live their life. So, yeah, cool.
By the way, I had mentioned a little bird friend of mine who got into these Bitcoin birds on Stacks Art. Well, the lead on-chain analyst for Glassnode is one of the many who I've been seeing pop up with Bitcoin Bird as their avatar. So I think that when you start seeing a lot of people using certain types of NFT collections as their avatar, that's at least one checkpoint of popularity, right? Like, it's
absolutely.
It's no longer just the apes and the CryptoPunks. He even commented on it. New profile pic. This is my Bitcoin Bird. There are 399 others like it, but this one is mine.
Oh, wow.
And he goes off on it a little bit. And I don't know, I think that I think that there's a future. I think that, like as he says, Bitcoiners are sleeping on Stacks right now. But I did notice the Stacks price has actually gone up a bit, and it was fluctuating, but we've gone up to 230. Now, in the beginning, what I was thinking was, okay, every time Stacks price goes up, Bitcoin birds go down, but alas, that's not the case. Now it's both have gone up. The floor price of Bitcoin birds have gone up as well, with the overall sentiment growing in terms of popularity and all that. I from the beginning, I've been seeing a rise in this. So I think that guy is right. Bitcoiners are still a bit sleepy when it comes to Stacks Art. I think the fact that it really is kind of bridging the Bitcoin world with the NFT world is somewhat of a first, and that's maybe shouldn't be slept on.
No. And that brings me to what I found this week was punk sales. So I noticed that there was a tweet with the punk sales back from December 19. So Jesse, when you talk about your friend's bird, it could be the same sort of thing. We had people spending $50, $60 on these back in December 2019. And now these 9 punks sold for a collective $17 million at Christie's.
Oh, Lord.
It's about spotting that thing that's trending. And if you've noticed, Jesse, you know, that your friend's bird was appearing in people's avatars, and that's when you know it's gaining a little bit of traction. And, you know, often people try and go for the cheapest thing they can find, which is definitely not how it works, I think, in the NFT space. You either get in super cheap at the bottom and are prepared to take a risk, or you spend a bit more when something's gaining traction.
So we actually, on next week's show, we're going to have some NFTs to give away as prizes. I'm talking to a number of projects at the moment that are kindly donating these prizes to us for you, the audience. So make sure you do subscribe to the channel. We're also super interested to hear from you all about which NFT projects you really rate and think that we should have a look at. So please put that in the comments for us, and we will pick a couple to have a closer look at next week. But Leanne, any others that are on your radar apart from the Leanne Nova originals that we're looking forward to?
The update on that is I still haven't been able to put them for sale because the ETH gas price is just exorbitant, and I'm just unwilling to list them for sale yet. So again, it's a massive problem. I'm definitely not going to list something when the gas price is more than the sale price.
This whole scaling issue has been at the heart of everything. I mean, our brand is called Hardforking. That was a scaling issue. People wanted bigger blocks. You know, that's the issue with blockchains. People, we're early. Things aren't going to be perfect. You're making so much money in the space because you're early. You're getting involved in projects early. Don't expect perfection yet. It ain't around. Bitcoin's the only finished product. Everything else is a work in progress. That's my take on this. You know, that's what makes the space exciting. There's all, you know, things are changing on a daily basis. These layer 2s will also have capacity issues at some point. This is all about scaling. Who can scale the fastest and the best wins.
There will be fees. That's the sequel to There Will Be Blood. As you just said, Sean, I think that kind of hits the nail on the head is if you're in this space and you're investing wisely, as we spoke about earlier, the fees will be nowhere near as impactful as the benefits if you play the game correctly.
Yeah. Speaking of games mathematics, we've both been playing Nine Chronicles. Season 0 just finished about 20 minutes ago. I'm very excited to find out if I've won an NFT. It's been 6 weeks of slogging it out. Now, look, I'm in love with this game. I think it's got a huge future. I've been saying that for 6 months. But it's, you know, what we're talking about here is case in point. You know, I probably did a lot better than other people because I had figured out how to reboot the thing quickly and get it working when it was laggy or just stopped altogether. You know, there are so many issues with blockchains. We saw spider tanks go offline the other day, same issue. So, you know, just a word on this. When you're seeing these glossy trailers, we've said this many times, careful. Play the actual games, get involved in the betas. Nine Chronicles Season 1 is just around the corner, and go check it out. Sign up code below. Speaking of sign up codes, this came through the mail. Got me an Embily card.
So cool. And if you don't know what it is, it's a beautiful Visa card that has an Embily wallet attached to it. And you can...
Got a great box too.
You can load your Embily wallet up with crypto and convert it into euro, and it's spendable through the Visa network anywhere. So the link is below. We're all using it. It works. It's fantastic. It's actually been a lifesaver in some events when another card hasn't worked.
Yeah, it's only ultimately costing you about $25 when you factor in that it's preloaded, it's sent out for free, etc. And the thing I like about it, there's no token attached to this thing at all. You don't have to buy a bloody token to get it to work. On that note, Crypto.com, the company that is sponsoring everything, Crypto is sponsoring everything at the moment. My favorite podcast, Theo Von, check it out if you haven't already. BlockFi are now sponsoring that.
Yeah, the Coinbase squad have partnered up with yet another monster, which is the NBA. And when I said to you earlier, Sean, that nowadays it just feels like we don't have to start trying to convince people. I think that nowadays you start to see this kind of news. I mean, I agree with you. Not everyone is into Bitcoin. Not everyone believes in it. Of course, not everyone believes in everything. But when you start to see more and more of these things, when you see every stadium being sponsored by crypto, when you see every sports player buying NFTs and running their own crypto things,
How can you not?
what is it? Is it all just going to have to be stopped immediately by the whole? I mean, the whole world is into crypto now. Sure, we're not there yet. We're still early, but I don't know. I maybe I'd just call me an optimist, but crypto has won.
But we still have to keep educating people on the reason why Bitcoin is important. You know, we've the Chancellor of the Exchequer last couple of days is out there talking about a central bank digital currency. People, be under no illusions, these central bank digital currencies are going to take us all down the same path as China. You know, if you were somebody that doesn't want to get vaccinated when there's a central bank digital currency, guess what? You're on a database that switch your damn money off or anything. You put a foot out of line. That's where we're heading. But Bitcoin is completely decentralized, can't be switched off. And I think we're going to end up with a parallel frickin' life.
Yes, there'll be an economy that operates differently between the people that know and the people that don't. And that's the reality of the situation. And the people that want to barter, exchange with those things will end up in communities that work. So ultimately, you know, we don't need the structures in place. You know, you look at El Salvador now, they're laughing. Now, a few months ago, they were probably pooping in their pants that they'd made the wrong decision to buy Bitcoin. But now, you know, they're well ahead with a new all-time high. All of their people that receive $30 of Bitcoin is probably up now 50% or something. I just noticed that the airline, their local airline has partnered to accept Bitcoin payments. America, Australia, they're going to be losing the best brains in the business because people involved in these spaces don't want to be shut down and don't want to be regulated so that it squashes creativity.
Well, Leanne, did you see today that a think tank in Australia has put forward a bunch of suggestions on crypto regulation? And I've had a really good read of them. I'll put a link below for any Aussies watching.
Oh, they always come up with some very impressive statements.
They are just suggestions, I suppose, but there's nothing in there that looks like it's trying to throttle the crypto space. And I know crypto is massive in Australia.
Yeah, Australians definitely embrace crypto. It's just I don't like what the government's doing now with its citizens. So it kind of scares me that they're coming up with all these think tanks. You know, who's in the think tanks? Are they asking the real brains in blockchain or are they creating their own little echo chamber of nice things that they want to push? And we talked about last week that there's testing going on in the Pacific with a digital dollar and the Australian government. So, you know what? I don't trust them as far as I can throw them. And I'm going to be the pessimist right now.
Well, the French and the Americans were testing nuclear bombs in the Pacific, so...
Oh, yeah, so which one? Do we want nuclear bomb? Oh, the Pacific, poor Pacific. They really cop it, don't they?
I know, leave the Pacific alone, everyone.
Yeah, let them just live. Atomic testing.
They're the nicest people on Earth, aren't they?
Testing. My goodness.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we've got some NFTs to give away next week, and I'm trying to come up with creative ways to shortlist people for these prizes. So one of the ways that you can enter is put a comment below this video or on Twitter. Tell us which NFT project we should know about and why. And you will be in the draw. Now, these are actually pretty high level, valuable NFTs that we've got as prizes. So get involved, people. Comment below. Let us know. And we'll look at your project next week as well. How about that? Any other ideas of how people can enter?
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Okay, we're going to wrap it up. I've got a birthday party to go to.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't forget to breathe.
Oh.
I think breathing is such a subtle yet complex and important part of life, breathing is the vehicle that you need in order to navigate hyperspace. And I'm not talking about the internet. I'm talking about that metaphysical area that surrounds us eternally. Breathe, breathe, breathe.
It's funny, Jesse should bring that up, because before we aired the show, I was walking around the house and sometimes I get this stuck breath. Like I forget how to breathe, right? Of course you breathe, but you don't take deep breaths. And I literally stopped myself and I said to myself, Jesse, breathe. And I took 5 deep breaths and then I just felt better.
Leanne told me last week, she said, Sean, you've been so stressed. You got to get out from that computer.
I did.
You got to go out in nature,
and
be around the trees and the bees and the crickets.
And the grass.
And I did that. And look at me. Look at me. I feel so much better.
He's glowing.
When he gets off air, he cries in the corner, but that's okay.
Oh man, somebody on my stream last night said, damn, I haven't tuned into your stream for a while. He said, damn, you've aged. What the fuck?
No, this is where we bring up the haircut from the start of the pandemic. Oh, no, you look much better than the haircut at the start of the...
Should I dye my hair, do you think?
No!
No?
Oh, no, don't do that. Salt and pepper can be very sexy, so just stick with the natural, yeah?
Yeah, breathe and hug trees and buy Bitcoin. See you later, everyone.